What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Average Money Podcast. We are going to keep continuing to try out different types of episodes and different formats for this episode. If you guys do not know, I'm a big-time reader. Right now I'm reading Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss, and there's an awesome piece in this book where he goes through the best interview questions that you could probably ask somebody. And I'm reading through this list. I'm like, man, I kind of want to ask JJ these particular questions. So I called him up. I said, hey, tonight's episode, I'm putting you on the hot seat. I'm giving you a little bit of an interview tonight, and I'm going to ask him questions, and he's going to give you a way that you can now ask us questions. If you are new to this podcast, my name is Brad Finn. I'm joined every single week with the one and only JJ Buckner. And JJ, how we doing, bud?
I'm nervous. I'm probably going to... I'm waiting for you to stump me on one of these questions, because I honestly have no idea what kind of questions these are. I have no idea what kind of topic, their range they're going to be. I'm completely in the dark right now with no flashlight to look anywhere. So I'm a little nervous about what Brad's going to throw at me, but hey, we'll roll with it and see what happens.
Have you've never read the book Tool of Titans?
I've never heard of it.
Have you ever read any of his books? He wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, Tools of Titans.
The 4-Hour Work Week I read 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, he also has an outstanding podcast. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Before we get to you, you've been working hard. You got the Facebook page set up, which is awesome. I put a link for that down in the show notes and everything like that. And you just add something else today, yeah?
We did. The Facebook page almost to 100 members.
Whoa.
So that's a big increase.
That's like 2 weeks.
Dude, it's awesome, man. I'm so excited for this Facebook group because we really will get to know our followers, our listeners. So it's going to be a great way to ask questions, start up conversations, and also to let people kind of introduce themselves and where they're at on their financial independence journey. As into what's going to happen next, or what we've got started up as of today, filming on December 8th, you guys can now leave us voicemails or questions.
Yeah.
And Brad and we're actually going to start introducing a second episode for the week. So we've did some talking. We asked some of the members in the Facebook group and said, what would you guys like to see? Brad and I kind of were thinking this kind of same subject, I guess. And we made it happen, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go.
We've said from jump that we want to get people involved, and reading the reviews have been awesome. And it's one thing to read a comment, but to be able to hear it, like when you get somebody's voice or their accent or just it's going to be so awesome. I'm so pumped. And yeah, we're going to try and get as many as we can and just add that to, another episode later in the week. We'll probably release it on Friday. We'll probably do a Wednesday, Friday, bite off that Choose FI a little bit. And no, I'm super pumped. You having a beer tonight for this interview, Jay? I haven't interviewed you since I was actually thinking the other day when you were on Baby Steps Brad, that was 3 years ago. It was late January, I think, and you had 200 subs and I had 500, and I thought I was the man. Said to my wife, I got this peon JJ Buckner coming on tonight. I'm trying to boost his channel up a little, get him a little.
I feel sorry for the guy.
Get him a little bit of love, and now I'm your charity case. So how the world turns in just a little bit of time. But this is interview number 2, and maybe we'll have you come up with some questions you want to ask me in the future, and I'll follow up on some of these because they're good ones.
Right? Yeah, because I want to hear your input on this as well too.
Yeah, it's a little bit different for me because I've thought about them, and
that's true.
I was telling JJ before that inside the book, when Tim asked one of the people in the book, what's the first person or who's the first person that comes to mind, and he was like, no, I'm giving you the third. And Tim was like, what are you saying? The third, he goes, the first one's spontaneous. The second one's just trying to compete with the first one. The third one is when you really, really have thought about it for a little bit. So that's kind of where I'm at. My answers would not be as spontaneous. So go ahead.
That's what I'm nervous about, though. I'm nervous something obscure or just I'm going to make myself look like an idiot. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to come out of this mouth tonight. So just be ready. That's all I got to say.
Well, I have a list of 8, but we'll see what time happens, and we'll see if we end up discussing one more than the other because, yeah, man, we're we're getting to know each other. It's a little bro. Because we talked about Marco. If me and you were sitting around the campfire drinking beer, I can't ask you these questions. But if we put headphones and microphones in front of us, I can ask you anything. It's totally normal. It's not creepy. It's not weird.
Right. That's so true, man. That's funny.
All right, bud. Here we go. Question number 1. When you think of the word successful, who is the first person that comes to mind? And please tell me why.
Oh, okay. I mean, as you said, successful, the first guy that popped in my head was Warren Buffett. And the reason why I think is because, one, the space I'm in, I'm constantly in the stock market. I'm looking up stocks. So that's kind of where my head instantly goes to. But also, like, whenever someone talks about, rich man in the news, or this successful businessman did this, you always see Warren Buffett's face. So that kind of, I think, was instilled into me. But as I'm talking right now, I have that like second thought as you're explaining something.
Yeah.
I'm also leaning towards like successful is not just wealth, it's also needs to be about like what you do in your life. There could be a guy out there who has $1 to his name, but he lives in a van down by the river and he just loves his life. That guy is super successful.
He is.
I think successful has two things you can look at. You can look at it on a perspective like Warren Buffett, who has acquired a lot, many assets, a wealthy individual, or you can look at it as happiness. Yeah. If someone is truly happy with themselves, especially in a day of age that we live in where it's so much stuff going on, there are depressions at our all-time high rates, especially with stuff like social media coming out and whatnot, and how just everything's going on in life. If you have someone who is truly happy, I think that is the best feeling you can have on this earth.
I think that's even alone because we think about how many different things lead to happiness. You just mentioned a few. That might be a full episode. We might be able to just talk. I mean, I consider myself a very happy person. Like, it's not a facade. I mean, I could cry myself to sleep like the best of them, but generally I'm a really happy person. And there are so many different... It's not as easy as, why you're so happy.
So can you answer these questions? We don't have to keep we don't have to keep them long or whatever, but this is obviously I'm interested in what yours were.
So mine was my first and the first one I thought of. And even now it's going to sound ridiculous, but my students always ask me like if I could trade places with one person, who would I trade places with? And I think for the same reason I would trade places with this person, or the same reasons that I think they're successful. Justin Timberlake. Now, hear me out. Justin Timberlake, he has gone through so many phases of his life and stayed really well balanced. He's super talented. He's humble. He's kind. He works his butt off. He is a great husband. He's a great father. He's a charitable giver. He's had all the success in the world, and he's really never had that like hiccup. He took the comfort of his boy band and then went out on his own. Like, I'm not saying I love Justin Timberlake's music, but like when I look at a whole picture, he's pretty fit, things like that. I don't know. I really admire Justin Timberlake from a personal business. I think as I've gotten older now and I know like being a father is like part of like being happy. Mm-hmm. Like I take all these celebrities, and Warren Buffett has a lot of those things that you mentioned. The only thing that with the Warren Buffett, would Warren Buffett be the same Warren Buffett if he didn't have Charlie?
Oh, that's tough.
And when Justin Timberlake, he did it on his own.
Yeah. That's true.
I'm not giving Charlie Munger like all of Warren Buffett's credit, but they're kind of like a duo.
Oh, for sure. 100%, man. Yeah. I mean, they're a team, So yeah, you got a point there, but don't tell me you're not jamming to some NSYNC on the way to school. I know you are.
I'm not a big...
I know you are.
First off, I'm a little bit older than you, so like that boy band was my high school career. I was more of a grunge guy, as you can tell. I'm still rocking flannels. Mm-hmm. I would go to a Justin Timberlake concert for the lights and the party. Yeah. I would.
I wouldn't pay for a ticket, but if you were like, "Hey JJ, I bought 2 tickets because I really like Justin Timberlake," then will you come with me? I'm like, yeah, sure, man, I'll come.
That made it weird. Dang. I'm bringing sexy back.
Man.
What? What is something that you believe wholeheartedly that other people think you are absolutely insane for thinking it?
Oh my gosh. So this is the first. I'm going with the first thing that popped in my head. Working as hard as you can to get what you want. Now that may sound like not something people would hate you for, but I say think about this for a second. So many people can say, yeah, I want to work as hard as I can to get something, to become successful or to hit my goals or whatever. But how many people actually do it? And that's kind of the point I'm making, is it's not really the people hating you for working as hard as what you're doing, but it's the fact that they're never going to do it. So they're probably thinking it's weird anyways, because I've experienced this in my life. Like, everyone should always, like, it's just kind of known, like, yeah, go work as hard as you can to get what you want in life. But until you actually do it, I always feel like there's something there that people may, this is going to sound so bad, but like aspire, but also have jealousy over.
Yeah.
So that kind of ties into that. You know, you kind of know where I'm getting at.
Are you saying it's kind of like everybody wants to be strong, but nobody wants to lift heavy weights? Like,
absolutely.
Like, people think you're crazy for believing that if you work hard, you can achieve greatness and you can become an entrepreneur. Your belief is that it kind of, quote, is that easy. Everyone thinks you're crazy because they believe it's not.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
That's literally exactly what I was trying to get across.
And I nailed it because that's very, very similar to what I was saying. Like, I have kind of like two positions. I thought about one right off the bat. The first one that I thought right off the bat is I believe in tough love. And I think a lot of people think that I'm crazy for that. And I'm not saying like whipped and tied up and chained, but like my dad smacked me around if I needed a smack.
Yeah.
When I called my mom a bitch, he made me eat an entire bar of soap, and not even a new one out of the shower.
Get it, Papa Finn.
When they caught me smoking cigarettes when I was 13, they locked me in the bathroom with a full pack and said, do not come out of this bathroom until you finish the pack. Obviously, they came and got me when they heard me throwing up after but you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
That level of like tough love or even academically. Hey, Dad, how do you spell this? Go look it up. That would just drive me nuts. So I think a lot of people think I'm crazy for that. That like I'm a little for bullying to some extent. Like, I'm not trying to hurt people, but I'm a little bit for toughening people up, and that was like my first go-to. But like, I think after I had time to think about it, one thing I really believe in that other people think I'm crazy is that all you need is contentment and love. And that's not sounding like a hippie, like tree hugger, but like, I think COVID, I know a lot of people, and this is a sensitive subject, so I'm going to use my words carefully here, but I know a lot of people had a very, very terrible year. And I know that something in the news is like, I want 2020 gone, and I want 2020 was a blessing for me in a way, because my kids were so young that I didn't have to go to work every day, and I got to spend time with them, and that was a critical age. And I really felt like at the end of the day, even with all the messes that were going on, all I needed was the love of the people around me, and I needed to be happy with myself, contentment, and that's really all you need.
Yeah, man. I mean, you nailed it on that, and I do want to give a quick shout out real quick. I wasn't really going to bring this up, but we lost a great soul earlier last week, and due to COVID. Mm-hmm. It was actually going to be a future guest here on the podcast. It was Rick Jarman from Real Estate Old School. Great man, great family man. Brad, I mean, what you said exactly is kind of what made me think of him. Is I talked to him many times, and I could tell he was a very happy man because he was surrounded by his family. Yeah. You know, especially in a day and age where, you know, you see all the articles, the pictures, the advertisements of the guy standing in front of the jet holding on to 4 women next to his Lamborghini out in the airport, like, and that looks like supposed to be happiness. No, what happiness is dying as a older man with a family around you that's going to be there, that you know you have all those memories that family can live on with as you move on to your next life.
Yeah, I'm really blessed that you and John Scholler especially have. I didn't really know too much about him, not being that much into real estate, but you know, when I hear John Scholler speak positively about somebody, which he has even before he passed away, which is why we need to get him on the show. Like, I trust John Scholler's judgment and character. And then after he's passed, seeing the support that his family has given to even the people, like his family was the one hurting the most. And I saw they reached out to John and things like that. And yeah, man, amen. And it puts things into perspective for us, you know, as young guys, is that things can change quickly. He posted a video 2 weeks ago on YouTube, you know, and I think that was definitely worth mentioning, and I'm glad you did, and he definitely deserves a lot. I'll give a quick little moment of silence for Rick, and we'll have a sip of beer, and we'll move on.
We're getting deep, man. That's how we're getting deep.
Nah, man, I also cry in movies. You know, it's not a big deal.
I'm a crier too.
If you don't cry when Forrest Gump is at Jenny Gump's gravesite, you do not have a soul. I said it.
Dude, I got a movie for everyone right now. If you have Disney Plus, go watch the movie Clouds.
Clouds? Oh, I was gonna thought you were gonna say Coco. That's another tough one.
Oh no, Clouds, dude. My mom, dad, and my wife were all in the living room. We were all doing the ugly cry. I mean, it is a very powerful movie.
I'm in.
Go check it out. Clouds on Disney Plus.
I'm going to follow the next one up with, what is the worst advice you see people in your field giving?
Okay. So I got to say, this is a tough one, man. So
what makes you go, oh, come on, man?
I think it's whenever I see people in the YouTube space like telling someone to go buy the stock.
Okay.
And this may be very niche down for this answer, but to be honest, that's like I'm just going. I'm saying what's going the first in my head, and I see a lot of channels out there now. Like, and don't get me wrong, like some of my titles are like new stock in a 5X, buy now ? Like, obviously, I got to have somebody to come in and to watch the video, but I always say, like, this is not, like, I'm not telling you to go buy this stock. I would never do that. I would never blindly just go tell someone to buy something because I think it's going to go up, because you just can't do that. You're messing with people's money who trust you, and no one really knows what's going to happen with the stock market. And when you have somebody who is a complete beginner investor and you're telling them to go buy a stock, like, that is very dangerous, because they don't know exactly what they're getting into. So they could take their life savings out and say, oh, they told me to go do it, I'm going to go do it. And then that stock tanks in a month later, and then they're ruined. Like, obviously that's a worst case scenario, but still, I will never tell someone to go buy a stock. I always say what I'm doing.
Yeah. And sometimes the things we do are not good.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's, I just don't like how people don't put index funds and retirement savings before individual stocks. And, you know, and I try to make it clear all the time. I max a lot of things out with index funds before I buy any stocks. And people are going to see that. My channel picked up later in the year. My channel is going to see that when the new year comes, and the first 6 months of the new year are going to be spent maxing 403Bs, 457s, Roth IRAs, HSAs, and all that stuff before a single stock is added to my brokerage account. Unless the channel still keeps popping off, I'll find some money to put in.
Yeah, you got to buy some stocks, bud.
All right, here we go. Next question. It's kind of like it's close to that, you know, what's something that you believe that other people think you're crazy about? What did you think was crazy 5 years ago, maybe 3 to 5 years ago, that you've now changed your mind, completely flipped 180 from how you felt about it 3 to 5 years ago?
Oh, man, this is tough, dude. And like, I literally have nothing like popping up first in my head, but I have a few things I keep like going over.
Well, just think about how old you were. You're 25 to 27.
Read the question to me again.
Okay. What's one thing that you felt strongly about 5 years ago that you've completely changed your mind about? I feel like I can answer this for you.
Okay,
This is a layup.
no.
This is a layup.
No, yeah, I want to hear your answer after this because
No, I have an answer for you.
think-
I thought I knew what you
No.
were going to say instantly.
No, I know that. I want to hear it after this
Okay.
one though, because this is something that it's kind of like personal, to be honest. So I'm having a little hard time saying it, but
Okay.
I think it's like comparing myself to others.
Okay.
Like 5 years ago, JJ would have thought like that's what I should do. Like I always need to compare myself because that's who I need to be, or that's what I got to compete against. But now that I'm more mature, and from 24 to 29 is a very, very big difference. I have 2 kids now, like a growing family. I'm a grown man, business. Like it's just a lot more perspective to look at. And now I really wish that 24-year-old JJ thought what I thought now of you don't need to compare yourself to everyone of how you look or why you're not as tall as everyone else or why you're not making as much money as everyone else or you're not growing in your 9 to 5 as everyone else. Like that's definitely something I have thought now that I wish I would have focused on more when I was 24.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say something about like getting to leave your W-2 job like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have thought that it was as possible as it is to be this successful on YouTube and in your business, and I'm sure that's changed in your mind.
Yeah, that's another good one. That was one of the ones I was kind of streaming across, but I was like, I think I got to go like the more personal touch on this one, or the more what's the word I'm looking for?
The deep dive, the behind the scenes
Yeah.
look.
Yeah, there's a word I'm thinking of, but I can't remember.
I mean,
yeah.
I thought of I've, like you said, you've changed your life so much in the last 5 years. My life has changed ridiculously. And I don't want to say the V word, but how I feel about my health and what I'm eating, that's definitely changed, but that's all I need to say about that. I think that coming from a family of 4 boys, I thought I could handle more children than 2. 5 years ago, I said, I can handle 3. I can handle 4 boys. I live with 4 boys. If I found out, it would be bad. I'd be pretty
That's
upset.
why I got mine snipped.
I'd be pretty upset. Those are I think really the true ones. And then you made a very good point. As my life has gone on, every year I become more content. 5 years ago, I didn't think, it's not even about, like you mentioned, comparing yourself. I never thought that 30-year-old would be better than 25. And I never thought 35 was going to be better than 30. And every single year, my life really has gotten better and better. And I'm like, wow, this is a, and it gets better for different reasons.
Yep.
Dude, I remember spring break, Lake Havasu, Arizona, funnels underwater, like. But I think me and you mentioned we can't go away for a weekend. We can do like a one-nighter because.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gets better for very, very different reasons.
That was a good one. I like that one.
What does the first 15 minutes of your day look like? And if you want, maybe the first half hour.
Okay. For the most part, it's pretty consistent. I definitely need to improve on it. I will say that. So usually I'll wake up around 6:30 due to my kids waking us up. Usually Mason is running in the room. You can hear his foot going tip, tap, tip, tap, tip, tap. And Lindsay and I can kind of like wake up. We'll touch her hand or we'll hear oh, here he comes. And then it's, Mom, wake up. So that's like our first 5 minutes. It's getting him situated. And then usually he woke up Millie too. Once Millie's up, Lindsay usually goes in, gets her, changes her. We come in, we'll lay down for a little bit like as a family and talk. And Mason will ask us 20 questions and Millie will just be chewing on her pacifier or whatever. Then after that, we'll get up, we'll cook breakfast. Usually the usual is either sausage and pancakes for the kids, and then I'll cook Lindsay and I some eggs and toast or something. And we sit on, all of the 4 of us sit on the kitchen table and talk about what the day's going to look like or what we're doing. Mason's usually telling us some crazy story about dinosaurs attacking heroes or something. I don't know. So that's my morning. Yeah. It's nothing extravagant. It's nothing crazy, but man, I will cherish it every single morning. The fact, I think I cherish it so much because of kind of what you mentioned on that last question was now I get to have that time. If you would ask me that question 5 months ago,
Yeah.
it would have been completely different. And dude, like that morning right there is a dream morning for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a perfect morning. And that's every day now for my life. It's like, it's getting me emotional, dude. I love it, man. Like,
Yeah.
I love my family, man. That's it.
It's good. Oh, it's good. Now you might want to read this book now that you're like, wow.
No doubt, dude.
I'm pulling all this stuff out of the book. You have 60 minutes with anybody that's alive to ask them whatever they want. Who is it?
They have to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, like we're big shots. I can call anybody for you. Who do you want me to call for you?
Dude, I have no idea.
One person.
I keep thinking The Rock.
Okay. Why?
That's who keeps coming in top of my head. Like,
This was for me. It was like,
well, like it was, but I was also like Warren Buffett kept jumping back in my head, but I'm like, no, I wouldn't really want to talk to him because he's only got one good thing going for me, and that's stocks, and I just wasn't feeling it. But The Rock, he's somebody that I saw from I kind of saw his story grow. You know, I got to watch him play everything out. I saw him. I knew him, The Rock, as you know, he was in WrestleMania or wherever. I can't remember now, but I used to watch it. And his little eyebrows he'd do, you know, like from the very beginning, and then you see him get into movies, and people were kind of like, "Oh, what the hell is this guy doing? What's this wrestler getting in here and trying to be the next actor? Like, come on, dude!" And then it kind of proved everyone wrong there. You watch his movies, like, damn, that was pretty good. Walking Tall and that's a great movie, by the way. So then you see him just kind of move up, and then he starts really getting focused into fitness. And like he's been big in fitness his whole life, but you really start to see him make gains. And like follow him on Instagram and stuff, so I know a little bit more about him, I guess, now. But then just the amount this guy does is absolutely incredible. If you really sit down and look at everything The Rock has going on, it's mind blowing that there is enough hours in the day for this man to accomplish as much as he does.
yeah.
He's just somebody I really look up to, and if I could have like an hour-long conversation or whatever, that would be a life-changing kind of like time for me.
I have two.
Go.
One is Joe Rogan.
Ooh, that's a great one. I wish I would have thought that one's a really good one.
I genuinely believe he's one of the most interesting people in the world. And if you think about him as a super spreader, the amount of people that he's spoken to,
no doubt, man.
He's probably on the list of my top 3 people that I would ever want to meet. And there's people that I want to meet, but I don't need an hour with. Joe Rogan, I need an hour. And when I'm on his podcast one day, we're going to need 4 hours.
Yeah.
And a nap. And then 4 more hours. The other is Dave Chappelle. And
yeah, that's a good one too.
There's something about Dave Chappelle him and Joe Rogan are friends, and Dave always refused to be on the show. He's like, but he just was on recently. It's awesome. But something about Dave Chappelle, and I got a lot about this with Barack Obama as well. I just held on every single word that they had to say. I always wanted to know what they were going to say next. And I like Joe Rogan because I feel like he'd talk to me more. It would be harder with Dave Chappelle. I feel like I'd have to ask him questions. He'll kind of give like some one-word answers like, hey, man, how's things? Good. But Joey Rogan for me.
That's a great one. Didn't even think of him, but that is a really good one.
So I just finished reading your most recently published book. Can you tell everybody what the title of that book was?
Well, that I wrote?
Yep.
It is How to Retire by the Age of 40, or How to Retire Early at a Young Age. That way I don't have to put an exact age on it. Because honestly, that is the one thing. I bet if you ask my wife, like, what's the one thing JJ is most obsessed with right now in life? And that's to become financially independent. Hands down, I would say what I'm thinking 60% of my day is different ways that I can get my family to become financially independent. And I say that for a couple of reasons. One of them is I don't want to come off as like I'm so money hungry. I want to be financially independent as like a status symbol. Absolutely not. I want to live a life where I truly can have almost zero stress, knowing that my lights will always be paid for and I will always be able to put food on the table for my family. So that is the reason why I'm so focused on getting financially set up as possible to where my family and hopefully my future generations never have to worry about money.
Amen. Love it.
What's yours?
Work hard, stay positive, be kind to other people.
That's like a Brad Finn slogan, so that's perfect.
It's not mine, it's my father's. And,
oh, wow.
He was he came from a bunch of siblings, 10 plus, two girls. I think he was like third in line. And he was loud when he needed to be, but he was mostly quiet. He was one of those guys that was like a good listener, right? He was more of a consumer than a producer. And he always could just be like, be nice. Just be kind. Just be kind. It'll be fine. Just be kind. Or, hey, let's be a little more positive about what's happening right now. Let's just be, at least at the end of, if we're positive, at least at the end of all this crap, we'll still be in a good mood. Like, we'll at least be there. Like, everybody can have a margarita in a good mood. And then he just always taught me to work my ass off. Always. Every job was an education. I've mentioned this in videos before. When I was a kid, he was like waking me up and making me caddy at the golf course when I was in like 5th grade. Carry a bag, $20. Dad, this is the worst job ever. Don't think of it as a job. Think of it as a workout. Then I'm on a roof. Dad, so hot. Don't think of it as a job. Think of it as an education. Dad, I don't want to do plumbing. Don't think of it as a job. Think of it as an education. It was always just work hard. Be kind. And just like always be nice to other people. That's it. So I still try to like do that. And I'm not always. My friends would tell you I'm kind of a D. Like I'm very, and this is back to the tough love. Like I grew up with like a tough love kind of feel, like very dry, sarcastic, like, oh, cool, bro. Great job, buddy. That was the way I was raised. I'm not, but I've been working on it. And for those of you that had to suffer through the video that I made last year about my dad passing away, he humbled me so much. And I'm a very, very different person after he passed. Not because he passed, like not that. But the days after that, where I got to meet people that came out of the woodworks that I never met, I only heard about in stories, and that like stayed at my house for like a week. And all we did was drink PBRs, which is in the background of all my videos. This is his last can that was in his refrigerator. It's like, I just heard all these people just telling me all these. I'm like, man, I got to be, if I croaked, people are going to be like, oh, that sucked. We're sad. But people aren't going to be flying. He passed away at Thanksgiving. Like, people are flying in. You know how much it costs to fly in last minute Thanksgiving to New York City? I'm like, who the hell are you? He's like, oh, we went whitewater rafting like 25 years ago. I'm like, and you're here? Like, I think I heard of who you are, but nah.
Dang.
This is about you. This is not about me.
No, that's good stuff, though, man. I do want to say this real quick, just for everyone who's listening. I will say, Brad, like, that is one thing I do admire for you, and that's one thing why I wanted to continue, like, and grow our friendship, is because there are not many people, as another, like, person who feels like I work hard in my life.
Right.
I don't feel like I really do know a lot of people in my personal life that is someone I can truly look at and be like, that dude works his ass off to get what he wants. And I feel like you're one of those guys, dude. I really do. So,
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and I like to surround myself with people that I aspire to be like. So keep killing it, bud.
Speaking of killing it, I just opened a Dubco. The Science of Selling Space Junk. I remember when we have an awesome designer, and I say we. Whenever I say we, guys, I'm talking about my former brewery because I'm not taking credit for what they're doing now. But when we first got this label, he's now a full-time employee. At the time, he was moonlighting as a bartender. And I'm sorry if you're listening, you're just going to have to go to YouTube and check out how massively amazing this can of beer looks. But
That's intense.
He comes back, and this was years ago. This is a beer that we've been producing. They have been producing for a couple years now. But when he came back, I was like, this had just happened in the news. It'd be so sick if you put that Tesla that they just shot to the moon, if you put that in the can. He's like, I'll get back to you in like 25 minutes.
Oh, wow. Crazy.
He threw the Tesla with the moon man in it, too. He threw that right on the can. So, India Pale Ale, 7%. But that was
I'm still waiting on that LiDAR.
It's aging. It's in a humidor. I told you, I'm only going to deliver it.
Sounds good.
Last question. What is the best purchase you've ever made for under $100?
Oh my gosh. Dude, I am struggling on this one.
It took me a while, but I have a good one.
So I'm going with the first thing I popped in my head, and it was just almost instantly. My headphones.
The one you have on right now?
No, my headphones I use to work out in. So I use them more for working out too, though. Like right when you said that, that's for some reason that's the first thing that popped in my head. But now as I'm thinking, I'm like, wow, I really do use those things every day. If I'm going for a run, throwing on my headphones. If I'm working on the yard, I'm usually gonna throw on my headphones. If I'm gonna go cut grass, throwing on my headphones. If I'm going to the store and I don't feel like talking to anybody and I'm really listening to a good podcast in the car and I don't want to end it, I'm going to throw on my headphones. And I can put their noise canceling. They cost me like $35. I got them on a good sale on Amazon like 4 years ago.
We'll put a link in the description.
I will. I'll do it.
Okay.
And yeah, man, that's the first thing. That's the first thing that popped in my head, and then I didn't think of anything else on top of that, so I knew I had to say it. What was yours? I'm interested.
So right off the bat, and it was just where I'm sitting, it was my dog, because he was a rescue, and I got him pretty cheap, and he still might be the best thing I ever bought for under $100, but I gotta go cliche a little bit and say my wedding ring. My wedding ring will cost me it's just a very basic titanium ring. It was $20, and I think, cliche aside, what it means to me. It was probably maybe the coolest thing that I ever bought for under $20. Maybe not useful, but like my buddy Crowy, my little buddy dog, like him and my wedding ring. Those were pretty good purchases for under $100.
I like them. I like those a lot.
That's all I got for you, bud.
That was good, man. I feel like we both got pretty deep in that episode.
And I do want to say this. The last time we spoke, Baby Steps Brad, it was the 2 days before the Super Bowl. We spoke on a Friday night. Super Bowl was Sunday. And I think it was the Patriots and somebody else. But I predicted a defensive game and that Patriots wouldn't score 7. And you laughed in my face. Maybe I'll put that audio in. You laughed in my face, and I was right. I feel like we need to make another another prediction 2 years from now. Something like that, because that was 2 years ago, literally 2 years ago. So what can we make a prediction about that we'll laugh about in 2 years? I just came up with that right now.
No, I want to think of something. Hang on.
Do you want to make let's do that. Let's do something crazy. What will the price of Tesla be in 1 year from today? I don't know what it's traded at.
Assuming no splits.
No splits. Or do you want to do Amazon? Let's pick a stock price. I pick a stock price, and then you tell me something to predict. What's Tesla's trading at right now?
600 and something.
700? I thought it was 700.
700? Maybe.
I'll get her up right now. Yeah, no stock splits. It's 646 right now.
Okay.
And currently, over the last year, it's up 860%.
Jeez.
So
I'm going to guess... just exactly a year from now?
Yeah. The 8th of December, 2021.
$2,000.
You think it's going to almost more than triple? No, it's going to triple?
Oh, man, that may sound ridiculous, but...
So we'll call it's 646.20. Call it 650.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, and I'm not even a Tesla share owner, so...
Neither am I. That's why
I'm saying this, so I'm going to go buy Tesla tomorrow because I said that. But yeah, dude, I I feel like Tesla's going to change the world.
So what's your final answer on that?
$2,000.
$2,000.
That's so high and ridiculous in valuation. Like, as I'm thinking of what their market cap would be right now, it would be absolutely insane. But I'm also thinking about Tesla maybe doing a huge news announcement of like buying back shares because, well, I guess that would only be a year from now. That would be more like a 5-year plan. Now I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking of like Tesla just accelerating so high to where they have the cash like Apple, where they're going to be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to buy all these shares. But that was more of like a 5-year game plan, I'm thinking. Let me recruit my answer a little bit.
Okay.
Let me say they're at 640 a year from now. I'll say 1,200. I still think they're going to go, that's doubling.
I'll take the over on that. I think, I was going to say like $1,500.
Okay.
I think they're cool. But I'm also not a shareholder. And I'm like, did I just,
why we literally need to buy them tomorrow.
I don't know. Maybe we'll put some money in as an average money. We'll split it. We'll split a share of Tesla tomorrow so we can talk about it next year. I'm in. I got $325 on it.
Yep.
I got 5 on it. All right, now you pick it over under. I picked that. Pick something even not stock related. What else? What can we predict for 1 year from now? And if you're in the Facebook group, you can predict it.
Answer these questions, yes.
This is going to come out 8, 9, 10, like maybe like the 15th. Or I say Friday's the 11th, 12th. This come out on the 14th. Get your vote in by like the 16th to be credible for next year's discussion. Next year's, we're going to read off all the people that left a comment in the Facebook page.
Oh, dude, this is tough. I'm trying to think of a good one, but I can't think of anything.
What else? Let's do the. Let's do this because me and you have had this discussion 100 times. I'm going to make you say it public.
Oh.
December 8th, 2021. How many total downloads of the podcast? Total podcast. Can I tell the story first?
Go ahead. That will probably help the listeners out.
When we started this podcast, we're like, yo, I asked JJ when we got to 1,000. I was like, hey, man, do we celebrate this? Like, it's 1,000 downloads. Like, is that celebratable? He's like, 25,000. You said some ridiculous number. It might have even been bigger than 25,000.
I think it was.
And I was like, no. I was like, that's going to take so long to get to. And I'm like, all right, well, at least at 100,000, we're going to go away. And we picked Asheville, right? We're going to Asheville.
Yep.
When we get to 100,000, and he's like, when do you think that's going to be? I'm like, March. And he laughed in my face.
That's so close. Like if we honestly hit 100,000 by March, I will be very shocked with the growth of this podcast.
we just hit 5,000 after 13 weeks.
Oh, we're at like 8 though.
Oh, we did. Oh yeah, okay. So we're at 8
or 7 or 8. I can't remember. We hit
whatever.
We'll probably just cross 7 then.
But I said March. I'm an exponential growth guy.
I'm still saying no way.
Okay, so 1 year.
Go ahead.
1 year from now, how many downloads? Or do you want to? Or should we publicly make this because we've talked about?
Yeah.
When do we hit 100,000 downloads?
Let's do that one. I'll answer like probably 60,000 a year from now.
All right. So you think over under on 100,000 is more than a year?
Hang on, let me do my math real quick.
You can use a calculator, bud.
If we do, okay, no, more than 60. I did 7,000. I'm assuming 7,000 downloads for the next 12 months. So that would be 84,000 downloads. Yeah, 85.
When is 100?
If we do 7,000 downloads a month.
I'm not saying the answer for you. I still hold. I told you, I turned 39 on March 22nd. We will get to 100,000 downloads by then.
So that's 3 months.
3.5.
3.5 months.
Yeah.
We need 28,500 downloads per month to get to that.
Or we need 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, and 98,000.
Let's do this, baby. I hope you're right.
No, but I mean, maybe March is aggressive.
Very much. I don't even think we'll be at 50,000 in March.
Do we have a year from now? Do we have 100?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I think we do.
JJ Buckner, thanks so much for being a guest on the Average Money podcast this week.
It was solid, man. I hope my answers were good enough, but we'll see. I want everyone in the Facebook group to answer these questions, or one of them, or whatever.
Yeah, we were just. This is the beauty. Like, we don't need to be. We're just having conversations here.
This is why I love podcasting.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one, and leave us some more questions in that voicemail. Send it to us. We'll answer them. Be appropriate. Like, come on, we're adults here, but let us know. I think we're gonna. The first time you hear, we're gonna go record that right now, right?
Yes.
So now you'll know. Monday, you'll be like, oh, they recorded that, right? You'll feel like one of us. JJ, I'm out of here, buddy. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. What do you got there, JJ?
I want to read a review.
I do too.
All right, let's do this real quick. This comes from Zydrus, Zydrus, if I said that right. Personal finance made easy. I found JJ on YouTube and really enjoyed his content, which brought me to this podcast and introduced me to Brad. They are a great combo. They will be the first to admit they are not finance experts, but they are talking about personal finance from the average person's view and from the real life experience, which we all can relate to. Looking forward to each new episode. It's a great one. I freaking love these reviews, man.
Yeah.
I love them so much.
They do. Dude, it's because we're finding like-minded people.
Yes.
There's very few dirtbags in this space.
Yep.
We're finding good people. We're just finding good people, man. Till we see you on the next one, guys. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you next week.